Okay, thank you for the invitation at the beginning. Briefly introduce myself and my organization. I work at the Agora Digitale Transformation. We are a non-profit think tank on questions of digital transformation and democracy. And today I would like to talk about housing benefit or Wohngeld in German, uh, public housing subsidy for people with low income. Last year, we carried out a project where on the question how this social benefit can be digitally and user friendly reimagined. So we decided on the term reimagination, not rethink or rebuild. No, yeah. So what has this to do with democracy? It has a lot to do with democracy. The basic idea is that a functioning welfare state, the promise of social security, is central for the people's trust in democracy at all. If they don't trust the state that he is able to provide basic social services, they don't trust in democracy. And this promise, the promise of social security, is at stake. A significant share of those entitled to social benefits don't claim that at all. In the case of housing benefits, for example, it's 60%. 60% of the people who are entitled to get housing benefits don't claim it. Just let it sacken. Ja. There are different reasons for that. So because they don't know it exists, because they don't know they are entitled to. Maybe you are entitled for Wohngeld. Just try. There are some calculators in the internet, or because the process is too complex. At the same time, the authorities responsible are often operating at the limits of their capacity. As a result, processing times can be extremely long. In Berlin, for example, the processing times for housing benefit applications reached up to 10 months at times. Just 10 months where you are not able to pay your rent. This is what it means. So we clearly have a problem. Enter digitalization. In social policy debates, the term digitalization is something like a savior, a problem fixer, a thing that makes all the processes user-friendly and more efficient. But what that actually means in practice often remains very vague. And on the other side, it's unclear what our major project of digital government, such as register modernization, the Deutschland stack, maybe you heard about that, or the EUDI wallet, can contribute to the solution. So we wanted to look very specifically at a very concrete case, housing benefit, to understand how these different building blocks of digital government could practically work together to provide a service that meet the needs of the citizens and the caseworkers as well. And what that might tell us about a user-friendly digital government more generally. So how did we approach this? Together with the Fraunhofer Institute Focus, we talked to the people who know this process at best, best. The people who receive housing benefits and the people and the caseworkers who are working in housing benefit offices. And we asked them very simple questions. We asked them, how does the process actually work in practice? What are the main obstacles you receive? And what, from your point of view, would need to change? And one important insight emerged very, very quickly. There is no such thing as a typical user. People come to this process with very different needs, with very different challenges and requirements. That's why we worked with personas. So let me introduce to you Walter, Wiebke, Wanda, and Wasim. They are applicants of housing benefits. And Sandra, she's the persona for the caseworker who works in a housing benefit office. The second key insight was this. At the first glance, the housing benefit process looks very simple. You submit an application, the authority processes it, and then a decision is issued. But in reality, it becomes a very complicated back and forth between applicants and administration. So why is that? Our social benefit system is a pretty complicated maze of different benefits, different authorities, and complex rules and dependencies. So people who need support have to search for information, find out who is responsible, fill out forms, lots of forms, and often deal with several offices at the same time. Then they have to work out which supporting documents they need to provide. These documents are often incomplete or the wrong ones are submitted. The authority then asks for more information. The status of the application often is unclear, so you have follow-up questions. And in some cases, coordination with other authorities is needed as well. And even once a decision has been issued, there's often still a need for clarification. So one of our interview partners, one of the applicants we interviewed, captured it very well. She said, you don't get the money for free. It takes bureaucratic work. Our main conclusion was this: the problem is not located just in one part of the problem, of the process. It's a system with several breaking points. Based on our analysis, we identified 4 areas in which digital tools could make a substantial difference for citizens and caseworkers. First, access. Second, databases. Third, documents. And fourth, the backend. I would like to briefly walk through each of these 4 areas. Let me start with access. Today, online access to social services, is there somebody who applied for a social service or for a benefit online, tried to apply? Everybody has? Okay. You get the mic after me, so you can share your experiences with us. It remains an obstacle course. We take the example of Wiebke, one of our personas, a single parent receiving housing benefit and raising children. She may also be entitled to a child supplement and to help with childcare costs. For all these different benefits, she has to apply separately through different offices using different forms, but often repeating all the same information again and again. That means access to social services is organized around the complex institutional settings and not around the people's lives. And online services simply reproduce this complexity in digital form. They don't do anything better, they just do the same we have in the real world. And this is exactly what users experience. So our conclusion from this was quite clear. Digital access to public services and social services as well should be organized around life situations, not around institutional settings. People need one entry point to the services they need in their relevant in their specific situation. And we should not reduce digital access to simply putting forms online. People should be guided through the process from first information to understanding their entitlements, to the application itself, and finally to the decision. At the same time, we also have to recognize that, especially in the area of social benefits, not everyone has the digital skills and the digital resources necessary. That is why physical points of access remain important. The second major issue we identified concerns supporting evidence, in German Nachweise. I tried to find a proper translation for this very bureaucratic term. Does it fit? Yeah? Okay, great. I thought it was a specific German term. Okay, Nachweise, supporting evidence. One of our central finding was that the supporting documents, these Nachweise, are the main driver of effort in the housing benefit process. Rent certificates, proof of income, information on assets, information on the members of the household are a burden both for applicants who have to provide them and for the caseworkers who have to process them. And this is also where many delays, errors, and repeated requests originate. The obvious response for this problem is once only. The idea that public administration should use data it already has instead of asking people to provide the same information again and again. Register modernization, the connection of the public administration databases called registers, is meant to make that possible. And we looked at this very closely in the case of housing benefits. We went through all these data points in a housing benefit application and asked which of these data points are already available through registers. And the result was pretty sobering. Around 2/3 of the required data cannot be obtained from existing registers, from existing databases, including precisely the information that creates the most efforts in the processing, such as rent information, income information, and information of the members about the members of the household. So our conclusion was register modernization matters, but it will not solve this problem on its own. So this is exactly where the European Digital Identity Wallet, the EUDI wallet, enters the stage. The EUDI wallet, or EUDI wallet, is a smartphone app enabling EU citizens to store, manage, and share digital identity, credentials, and documents across all member states. It shall be launched in Germany by early 2027. The wallet is usually discussed mainly as a tool for digital identity and authentication. But for our context, something else matters as well. It could help provide exactly the information, the Nachweise, that do not come from public registers. Such as payslips or rental contracts could be stored in machine-readable form in the wallet and transmitted securely under the control of the citizen to the authority. So evidence which today has to be collected, scanned, uploaded, checked, could so flow into the process in a much easier way. As such an easy to handle and citizen controlled infrastructure for digital evidence, the wallet could be a real game changer in social services and in public services. Maybe some of you are looking at the EUDI wallet not so enthusiastic than I'm doing with a little bit more scrutiny, but I think the EUDI wallet can become a very useful digital tool for everyone if designed properly. Therefore, it should be tested early in demanding public sector use cases in a participatory way with real users. The fourth and last point concerns the back end. A lot of digital government debates focus on the interface between citizens and administration. This is, of course, this is important. But our analysis shows if we only work on the front end, we are mostly working on the surface of the problem. In many local housing benefit offices, everyday practice is still shaped by paper-based processes, bad design software, and missing interfaces. Especially the main software tools for the caseworkers, called Fachverfahren, I'm curious what this means in English, are crucial. In many cases, these Fachverfahren are outdated monolithic systems which don't provide interfaces necessary to interact with online services, registers, or digital components. And the local authorities are highly dependent on a very, very small group, small number of vendors. There are not very much. So it's not just a technical issue, it's also a market and an innovation problem. That is why we argue for a more modular approach to these Fachverfahren. Instead of large monolithic systems, local authorities need software as a service that can easily connect to other components of digital government in line with a government as a platform approach. And housing benefits could be a very good pilot case for this. So let me close with 3 takeaways. First, digital government will only succeed if it reflects the diversity of people and their real-life situations. If we want to design digital public services well, we have to start from the needs of the users, not from institutional charts, jurisdictions, or forms. Second, the problem is really the back end. Yes, we need better access, but providing good digital processes will be much harder work to do. And third, especially in the field of social benefits, of social administration, digital technology will not reach its potential if it's simply layered on top of existing structures. Real digital transformation brings legal, organizational, and technical change together. So let's start with this, and thank you for your patience.